Reports saying the FBI and DOJ have now contacted the Capitol Police, this to schedule interviews with 6 members of Congress who appeared in a video urging service members to ignore what they were calling illegal orders. Joining us now to discuss, we have Bill Caruso with Archer Public Affairs and Katie Zacharia, Senior Advisor at Fix California. Great to have you both back with us. Katie, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth has called this video a politically motivated influence operation. Does the video inject doubt into the chain of command, or could it?
Well, to conclusively say it does, I think you'd have to interview members of the military. However, in viewing the video, it is something that needs to be analyzed and questioned because, look, there are active military operations ongoing around the world. Specifically, they've alluded to what is happening with the Venezuela drug cartel boats. Lisa Slotkin specifically talked about this. And if you are inserting doubt into chain of command, you are causing the military to have a potential to doubt the commander in chief without giving specificity on the, quote, illegal orders that you are insinuating he is given, then there has to be an investigation. These people need to be called forth and at minimum in the near term censured for those types of statements.
Bill, what message do you think this video sends inside of the military?
I don't know that it sends much of a message inside the military. I think the men and women that serve bravely in our military are properly trained. They know, by the way, their training as it relates to this issue and what orders they must follow and what orders they can't follow. And so I don't think members of Congress directing this in any way, shape, or form have an influence on that. Frankly, as a Democrat, I thought the video itself was a little off-putting. Clearly politically motivated. I get what they were trying to accomplish here, but I think on its own, I don't think it stood, the test of public scrutiny. But the president made this so much worse, right? With the crazy tweets in the middle of the night, that Secretary of War now digging in, and now we have the FBI investigating this. I think it was bad form on the Democrats' part. I really don't think it was. I think it was political, but I don't think it was necessarily anything relating to insurrection or anything coming close. But I think we're making a mountain out of a molehill now. And I think, frankly, the president's initial response was absolutely beyond the pale.
But, Bill, I mean, speaking of the president, given the fact that he's went through, let's just leave the trials out of the question, but Crossfire Hurricane and Russiagate, does he have some ground to stand on to be concerned?
No, I mean, listen, I think that those issues are separate issues. I think you have members of the Congress who've served their nation in the military doing a political stunt. I don't think it has an influence on the military. The commander in chief directs the military, not members of Congress. So this was a political stunt. And I think it should have been met with political scrutiny. I think we would have been talking about it here in a different context. And you may have been pinning me down. Do you think this was effective or smart move? I think the president has overshadowed that with his own actions. And I think the continued digging in here by having the Secretary of War now looking at Mark Kelly and now the FBI and the judiciary looking at members of Congress, we got bigger issues going on right now. We mentioned Venezuela. You got the situation in Ukraine. And frankly, you've got economic issues here on home. I don't think this is what the American public care about, to be perfectly blunt.
Katie?
I would disagree. Look, if the script was flipped and you had Republican members, 5 House members of Congress, and 1 senator telling the military not to obey Joe Biden, commander-in-chief during those years, the Democrats would have hauled all of those members onto the floor. They would have been censured. There would have been an immediate outrage. This would happen. And if we do not get hold of the Democrats who think they are above the law, who go out and put statements that call into question, these are not media influencers. They're not fringe. They are politicians. They have a duty to uphold, a constitutional duty to uphold the law. And they are saying to the military suggestively not to obey illegal orders. That causes people to wonder, are there illegal orders? That is what is happening. And that is why Lisa Slotkin went and said, well, I'm not sure there are illegal orders, because I don't think she was anticipating that there would be this pushback. Again, they are not above the law. They must be held to account for this. They should not get away with this. I don't believe the president overreacted. He cannot allow members of a party, he cannot allow politicians that are duly elected to question the chain of command and put doubt into the chain of command and him as commander-in-chief.
Yeah, Katie highlights an interesting point too. Not only are they not, average people, they're politicians, but they're also all of them, military officers or intel, former CIA intelligence officials. Speaking of the military, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth is planning for the military to sever ties with the Boy Scouts of America, saying that the group, now called Scouting America, is no longer promoting what he calls merit-based thinking. Bill, Secretary Hegseth says that organization is now designed to, quote, attack boy-friendly spaces. What do you make of this move?
The Boy Scouts of America have been a hallmark of recruitment for the United States military. I mean, separating ties with them or even criticizing them in this manner right now just seems so short-sighted on the part of the Secretary of Defense or Secretary of War or whatever we're calling him these days. But on a bigger level, it just seems like such a ridiculous distraction. We're going to war with the Boy Scouts of America. We should be focused on bigger issues right now. And regarding these types of service efforts, we should be encouraging more of this. Young people today in our society need more of this, not less. We should be encouraging it every stretch of the way. And the military needs this as a pipeline for recruitment. It just seems so ridiculous.
Katie, have the Boy Scouts drifted away from their original mission?
I believe so. The cure is simple. If the Boy Scouts want to continue a partnership, they can say we will no longer promote DEI within the Boy Scouts of America. And I think actually the Secretary of War is looking at how the youth have been targeted. And it is why Turning Point was so effective. And he's looking at the Boy Scouts of America and the infiltration of these DEI policies and how the Boy Scouts have drifted farther away from their original mission. And I think he's putting them in check. And the response of the Boy Scouts would be, what is it that we can do to re-embrace American values, to partner with the Department of War, to help promote these American values and get rid of policies that were anti-American and really encourage our men of America to uphold what you believe is important, what is actually fundamentally important. And a bigger question, where did we go wrong? And I think we've seen the Boy Scouts drift off. I myself have 3 sons. I will not put them in Boy Scouts because our local chapters in California have gone completely woke. And there are different types of organizations that are much more American-based, much more family-based, much more morally based than Boy Scouts are at this time.
Now, the holiday season is upon us. This all ahead of, Thanksgiving Thursday, Black Friday, the shopping season. The House China Select Committee is demanding that Amazon display the country of origin for every product that it sells. Bill, are people aware of the national security risks posed by, let's say, Wi-Fi routers and different smart home devices that may be originating from China?
Probably not, and they should be. But I'll even go one step further. There's an economic benefit to this too. I'm old enough to remember a Buy American effort, and we should all be encouraged to do that. I think consumers should be making their own choices based on their wallet and consumer choice. But the ability to easily select and understand and make that choice, and frankly, if it means we pay a little extra to make sure that it's domestically made and by the way, safe, if that's an issue too, when it comes to cybersecurity and other things, why not? Why not empower consumers like this? It shouldn't take an act of Congress or pushing. These retailers should do it voluntarily, and we as consumers should demand it.
Speaking of the Buy America effort, I know, Katie, there's a lot of Americans out there that, try to find different sites where there's only American made because they trust the quality, and oftentimes it's too niche, they don't have everything, too expensive, so on and so forth. If Amazon implements this requirement, do you think it will fly and perhaps change the way people will shop?
Yeah, and I completely agree with Bill, and I believe that this should be driven by consumers. These companies should be providing this information to begin with. And on the national security front, just for the consumer's information, for the consumer to say, I want to actually veer all of my resources, even if it's a little bit more expensive, towards American-made products. And I think it has the effect of now you're going to maybe pay, as you said, slightly more, but it will be American made. And you start actually implementing what President Trump is trying to do, which is of the American first agenda, bringing back at least manufacturing, but even in small businesses, kind of invigorating their boom and supplanting China with maybe slightly more. As long as they can provide free shipping and fast shipping, I think they'll be pretty competitive, truly.
On a slightly lighter note, the president, if you watched our opener, has pardoned 2 lucky turkeys, Gobble and Waddle, I think it was this year, ahead of Thanksgiving. But he also spoke after that, and the holidays aren't just about turkey and football. It's actually rooted in Thanksgiving, giving thanks to God, the Creator. So, Katie, what are you most grateful for this time of year?
Well, I'll go quickly political, and then I'll go down familially. Again, as a mom of 4 and 3 sons, I remark, and I don't think it's talked about enough in the news, that in 8 months, President Trump solved 8 conflicts around the world without a drop of American blood. And again, the reason this matters to me as a mom of boys is when you start thinking about your sons becoming military age and what that means, President Trump has set a new precedent for our country that you don't need to go to war, that you don't need to have American bloodshed in order to have peace. And I am so deeply grateful for that, to have conflicts resolved and to have Americans left out of it. On a familial note, so grateful for obviously my amazing family and community, even in the crazy of California. It's 81 degrees out here today. It's bright and sunny, and there's just such an abundance of blessings.
Bill, how about you? What does Thanksgiving mean to you? What are you thankful for?
Well, listen, I'm thankful that we're allowed to have this type of discussion and have this type of debate in an open way. We are very fortunate to live in a country that allows disagreements along political lines and the ability to debate them. And listen, Katie, like you, I'm a dad. I'm a parent. I got 3 boys as well. We're all going to be together, and I'm also I have the benefit of celebrating with my brother, who's going to be celebrating a milestone birthday. So we're all getting together. He's coming in from the West Coast, and so having my family together. I know my mom and dad are going to be happy to have everybody under one roof, and we're really excited about that.
Well, we're very grateful to have both of you guys on the program today, and wish you both a very happy Thanksgiving with your families. Thank you so much for joining.
Same to you.
To you as well.